Today we are going to continue drama The Tempest Part 2. Earl. Well, my brave spirit, said Prospero to Earl, how have you performed your task? Earl gave a lively story of the storm, and of the fears of the sailors, and how the king's son Ferdinand was the first who jumped into the sea, and his father thought he saw his dear son swallowed up by the waves and lost. But he is safe, said Earl, in a corner of the island sitting with his arms folded, sadly crying out for the loss of the king. His father, whom he thinks drowned, not a hair of his head is touched, and his princely garments, though wet from the sea waves, look fresher than before. That's my good Earl, said Prospero. Bring him here, my daughter must see this young prince. Where is the king and my brother? I left them, answered Earl, searching for Ferdinand, whom they have little hopes of finding, thinking they saw him drown. Of the ship's company not one is missing, though each one thinks himself the only one saved, and the ship, though out of sight, is safe in the harbor. Earl, said Prospero, your work is faithfully performed, but there is more to do. Is there more work? Said Earl. Let me remind you, mister, you have promised me my freedom. I have done you faithful service, told you no lies, made no mistakes, served you without evil word or thought. What? Said Prospero. You do not remember what pain I freed you from. Have you forgotten the wicked witch Sycorax, who with age and envy with almost been double? Where was he born? Where was she born? Speak, tell me. Sir, in Algiers, said Earl. Oh, was she? Said Prospero. I must tell you what you have been. Which I find you have forgotten this witch Sycorax. For Ben, which I find you have forgotten this witch Sycorax for her bad deeds, too terrible for human ears, was driven from Algiers, and here left by the sailors, and because you were a spirit too delicate to do her wicked commands. She shut up in a tree, where I found you crying out. This pain remember I freed you from. Pardon me, dear master, said Earl, ashamed to seem ungrateful. I will obey your commands. Do so, said Prospero, and I will set you free. He then gave orders what further he would have him do, and away went Earl, first to where he had left Ferdinand, and found him still sitting on the grass in the same sad state. Oh, my young gentleman, said Earl, when he saw him, I will soon move you. You must be brought, I find, for the Lady Miranda, to have a sight of your pretty figure. Come, sir, follow me. He began to sing, and the prince followed in wonder the sound of Earl's voice until it led him to Prospero and Miranda, who were sitting under the shade of a large tree. Now Miranda had never seen a man before except her own father. Miranda and Ferdinand. Miranda, said Prospero, tell me what you are looking at over there. Oh, father, said Miranda in a strange surprise, surely that is a spirit, Lord. How it looks about, believe me, sir. It's a beautiful creature. Is it not a spirit? No, girl, answered her father. It eats and sleeps, and has senses such as we have. This young man you see was in the ship. He is rather changed by grief, or you might call him beautiful. He has lost his companions, and is wandering about to find them. Miranda, who thought all men had serious faces and grey beards like her father, was delighted with the appearance of this beautiful young prince. And Ferdinand, seeing such a lovely lady in this desert place, thought he was upon a charmed island, and that Miranda was the goddess of the place, and as such he began to address her. She answered a little fearfully that she was no goddess, but a simple maid, and was going to give him an account of herself. When Prospero broke in upon her, he was well pleased to find they admired each other, for he plainly saw they had, as we say, fallen in love at first sight. But to test Ferdinand's faithfulness, he decided to throw some difficulties in their way. So coming forward, he addressed the prince with a severe air, telling him he came to the island as a spy to take it from its real master himself. Follow me, said he. I will tie you neck and feet together. You shall drink sea water, shellfish, and the dead roots shall be your food. No, said Ferdinand. I will fight against that until I see a more powerful enemy, and drew his sword, but Prospero, waving his magic stick, fixed him to the spot where he stood, so that he had no power to move. Miranda hung upon her father, saying, Why are you so unkind? Have pity. Sir, I will promise for him. This is the second man I ever saw, and to me he seems a true one. Prospero is angry. Silence, said the father. One word more will make me angry with you, girl. What speak for a spy? You think there are no more such fine men, having seen only him and the Caliban. I tell you, foolish girl, most men as far pass him in beauty as he does Caliban. This he said to test his daughter's faithfulness, and she replied, I have no wish to see a finger man. Come on, young man, said Prospero to the prince. You have no power to disobey me. I have not indeed, answered Ferdinand. And not knowing that it was by magic he was robbed of all power to fight, he was astonished to find himself so strangely forced to follow Prospero. Looking back on Miranda as long as he could see her, he said as he went after Prospero into the cave, My spirits are all bound up as if I were in a dream, but this man's threats and she weak and the weakness which I feel would seem light to me. If from my prison I might once a day see this fair maid. Prospero did not keep Ferdinand shut up long within the cave. He soon brought up his prisoner, and set him a hard task to perform, taking care to let his daughter know what he had done, and then pretending to go into his study, he secretly watched them both. Prospero had commanded Ferdinand to pile up some heavy logs of wood, king's sons not being much used to laborious work. Miranda soon after found her lover almost dying with weariness. Oh, sir, said she, do not work so hard. My father is at his studies. He is safe for these 3 hours. Please rest yourself. Oh, my dear lady, said Ferdinand, I dare not. I must finish my task before I take my rest. If you will sit down, said Miranda, I will carry your logs for a little while. But this Ferdinand would by no means agree to. Instead of helping Ferdinand with his task, Miranda prevented him from doing it, for they began a long conversation, so that the business of log carrying went on very slowly. Prospero, who had set Ferdinand this task merely as a trial of his love, was not at his books, as his daughter thought, but was standing by them unseen to overhear what the Ferdinand asked her name, which she told, saying it was against her father's command. She did so. Prospero only smiled at this first example of his daughter's disobedience, for having by his magic art caused his daughter to fall in love so suddenly, he was not angry that she showed for love by forgetting to obey his commands, and he listened well. Pleased to a long speech of Ferdinand's in which he said he loved her above all the ladies he ever saw, in answer to his praises of her beauty, which he said was greater than any other in the world. She replied, I do not remember the face of any woman, nor have I seen any more men than you, my good friend and my dear father. But believe me, sir, I would not wish any companion in the world but you, nor can my imagination from any shape but yours that I could like. But, sir, I fear I talk to you too freely, and my father's commands I forget. At this Prospero smiled and nodded his head, as much as to say, "This goes on exactly as I could wish. My girl will be Queen of Naples." And then Ferdinand, in other fine long speech, for young prince speak in courtly language, told the innocent Miranda he was the next to be King of Naples, and that she should be his queen. "Oh, sir," said she, "I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of. I will answer you in plain and holy innocence. I am your wife, if you will marry me." Before Ferdinand could thank her, Prospero appeared before them. "Fear nothing, my child," said he. "I have overheard and like all you have said. And Ferdinand, if I have too severely used you, I will make you rich payment by giving you my daughter. All your troubles were only trials for your love, and you have nobly stood the test. Then take my daughter as my gift, which your true love has bought, and do not smile when I tell you she is above all praise." He then, telling them that he had business in another place, asked them to sit down and talk together until he returned, and this command Miranda seemed not all willing to disobey. Now we have finished reading part 2, the Tempest drama. Thank you and see you next time.